Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's very hard puzzle, and it's called Yin Yang Sandwiches by Dying Fletchman. And here are the rules. We have normal Sudoku rules apply, which means in every cell in the grid, place a single digit from 1 through 9 such that every row, every column, in every designated 9-cell region, which is a box, contains the digits 1 through 9 exactly once each. We have yin yang, where we need to color the grid using two colors such that all cells of the same color are orthogonally connected, and no 2x2 area is fully one color. So this would be an example of a valid yin-yang shading, because to get from what it means for a region to be orthogonally connected is you can go from any cell in one region to any other cell of the same region just by going through edges, all while staying within the region. So to get from here to here, you have to go here and then along this way and then there. But you'll go through just edges here, all while staying within the region. And you have the same with this non-shaded region, but I guess we'll be shading it a different color. What would not be valid is something like, say, this, because this cell, even if we try to connect it this way, that doesn't work because the white region here cannot get to any other cell in this part of the white region just by going through edges while staying within the region. It has to go through a corner or it has to cross into the other region, which is not allowed. And this is not valid as a yin-yang shading because we have a 2x2 area here, which is all the same color, right? It's all white. So that's how yin-yang shading works. We also have sandwiches, where clues outside the grid give the sum between the lowest and highest digit in that, I guess it's repeated twice, but it's supposed to be in that row or column. So in this column, this is saying that in between the lowest and highest number digits on this column, you have to have the digits adding up to 12. So you could, in normal Sudoku, or normal sandwich Sudoku, you could have something like 1, 9, and then 2, 3, and 7. And this would be valid because 1 and 9 are the smallest and the largest numbers in this column, and then 2, 3, 7 adds up to 12, which is the digit, the sum here. We also, specifically, these sandwiches are going to be colored sandwiches, where each sandwich clue only sees digits of one yin-yang color, while digits of the other color are completely meaningless for that clue. Which color corresponds to each clue must be determined. And note, you may place colors or labels outside the grid to assist your solve. Those won't interfere with the solution checker. So, in addition to basically, so the reason this would work here, because if you're assuming that the sandwich is between blues, cells with a blue coloring, this works because this is 1 and 9 and this add up to 12 in between them, right? However, if you had, say, this was, I guess, 1 and 6, and then this was like 8 and 9, and then we had 4 and 5 here. This would also work if this was blue, if it was counting the blue. Because between 1 and 6, you still have 2, 3, and 7. And 6 is the largest digit for the blue color. 1 is the smallest digit, obviously, for the blue color. Because 7, 8, and 9 are in the white color. So they obviously are not counted in the colored sandwich. And obviously there are some rows and columns that have 2, which means one of them must correspond to one color and one of them must correspond to the other color. And those are all the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Whoops. Let's go. Okay. So, so one thing about yin-yang shading is once you've swapped twice in the color for yin-yang, you cannot swap again. And we know in column 1, you have to swap once. And in row 9, you have to swap once. That means you cannot swap again anywhere outside. So, whatever shading is here has to be a certain shading. And the shading here must add up to at least 12. So therefore, this shading goes that way. This must add up to 7, so we know this goes that way. This has to be all one long shading because we need blue also to add up to 12 in between the lowest and the highest number. So it has to be at least 12 this way, and this is at least 7, so it's at least 3 that way. So this will be the shading around here. That means this has to be green because this 2x2 area is all blue. It has 3 blues. This has to be green for the same reasoning, and so does this. Okay. Let's see. So here there has to be difference between 2. So this is blue or green. We're not sure which one. And then the other one has to be blue and green. Right, because 2 green, so you're always guaranteed 12 here, right? So that's the, and this has to be blue. Okay, that tells us something. What? I'm not really sure of. So we're guaranteed the low digit. So the blue in row 9 and in column 1, we are guaranteed that the blue and the green highs and lows have to, well, it's at minimum 1, 2, 8, and 9. Right? Is that right? No, that's not right. It's 1. We have 24 here. This is 28. That's interesting. 24 is fine because we can have on the outsides 1, 9, and 3, 8, or 1, 9. Or it doesn't even have to be in between, right? 28 is more problematic because you have to have 4 digits. And just as this is just the way that a yin-yang works on borders, is you have to have obviously just one change here. So all of these are going to be blue, or all of these are going to be green. And then you have something in between. You are guaranteed 21. You have to have 6, 7, and 8 at minimum. What else does that tell us? I don't really know. Hmm. You cannot then have 1 9 and 2 8 be. So the 6 7, the 8 definitely. If you have highs of 8 and 9, that's already adding up to 17. 45 minus 17 is 28, which is what the sum already adds up to. And that's not including the 1. So the high for one set has to be obviously 9. The high for the other set has to be it cannot be 8, it cannot be 7. Can it be 6? I don't think it could be 6 either. The high for the other set I think has to be is at most 5? Is that right? So you have 5 9. So okay, 28 is in between the blue set and then the green set. So therefore, we are guaranteed the 4 digits that are at least outside have to add up to 45 minus 28, which is 17. Well, you're definitely guaranteed 9 on the outside. You're guaranteed 1 on the on the low side. So you're definitely guaranteed those. So that's 10. That means the other 2 remaining digits must be at most 2, have to be 2 or 5 or 3 and 4. Yeah. So it has to be 1 and 9 as the lowest digit and the highest digit. Those are definitely not going to be sandwiched in between. And you have either 2 or 5 or 3 or 4 in between. Well, say we have 3 and 4. That if you can't have 3 and 4 because the digits in between 1 and 3 and 4 is never going to add up to 7, right? You have the 21 has to be between 9 and some other number. But 1 and 4 at most will only have 2 and 3 in between those, and that's only adding up to 5. So you cannot have, it has to be then 1, 2, 5, and 9 are the outer bumpers. And you then have to have 1, 2, 5, and 9 there. So this is 1, 2, 5, or 9. This is 1, 2, 5, or 9. And it cannot be 7, a singleton 7 in between, right? Because you have to have the difference between 1 and 5, which is 3 and 4. So this is always green, and this is always blue. And this is either one. So this has to be 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. It's either 3, 4, or it's 6, 7, 8 in between. And then if this is 3, 4, 3, 4, this would have to be 1 and 5. Or 2 and 5. It could be 2, 5, and 9. It could be 2, 5 in between those, and then 1, 9 in between. Or this is 6, 7, 8 here. And this is blue or green here. Okay, this is 1, 2, 5, 9. Again, these are 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. And then this is 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. This digit has to be 1, 2, 5, or 9 here. And so 2 cannot be here because of the 2 in the box. This can't be 8 because of 8 in the row. Okay. You're guaranteed again, same in row 9, you have 1 and 9 on the outside. But you cannot have 2 on the inside as one of the low digits, right? I guess you could. It doesn't have to be completely in between, right? So you could have one. How does that work then? 1 9 and 2 8. Or I guess it could be 2 6. No, that's not going to work. Say you had 2 as one of the low digits here. The problem is if you have 2 as a low digit, you have to have in between that and the other digit be 3, 4, and 5, or 2 digits adding up to 12. But you're guaranteed one if 2 is a low, you're guaranteed that in between has to be 3, 4, 5. Actually, that's not true. Um, well, 2 digits adding up to 12. Cannot have 3, 9. It would have to be 4, 8, and 5, 7 if you had 2 sets of 2. But the problem with that is that only one of them, only one of them can be below a 9 or in between the 1 and the 9. The other one has to be the largest digit, which means it can't be in between the other set, right? So it's either 3, 4, 5, or you have 2 digits adding up to 12, but you can't have 2 digits adding up to 12 without 3, 4, 5. So you cannot have a 2 here. 2 has to be part of a set that adds up to with 3 digits. So it could be either 2, 3, 7, or it's 2, 4, 6. And then the other digit, so if it's 2, 3, 7, that eliminates 3, 9. So 2, 3, 7 has to be in between 1 and 8 or 1 and 9. The problem then is that 8 and 9 is going to be the high digit left, and therefore you can't have 3, 9 or 4, 8 or 5, 7 in between those then. So I think it has to be 2, 4, 6. So you have 2, 4, 6 as a set of 3 that is in between. That leaves, so 2, 4, 6 has to be between 1 and another digit, which can be 1 and 7, 1, 8, or 1, 9. And the other 2 digits that are in between has to be between 3 and 9, or 3 and 8. And it would have to be 5, 7, which works either way. So therefore, this cannot be a 5 here. Right? 5 and 7 have to be in between. 2, 4, 6 have to be in between. So either this is a 5, 7 pair, or it's 2, 4, 6. And this can't be 2 because of the 2 in the column. This then has to be 1, 3, or 9. Or 8, right? And it cannot be 8 here. Okay, that's interesting. So 8 has to be, okay, so 2 in column 1 has to be one of these digits here. 8 in row 8 has to be one of these 3 digits here. Okay, so between 1 and 8 or 9 is 2, 4, and 6. Between 3 and 8 or 9 is 5, 7. So again, this could be, if this is 5, 7, 5, 7, that would have to then be between 9, and this would be 3. So this can never be 8 here. Because if it's 8, then this would be 1, but then you'd have 5, 7 in between, and 2, 4, and 6, 2 would be the low digit then, and therefore it would not add up to 12 in between those. So if this is 3, this has to be 9. If this is 5757. This is 9 and 3. Oh, that's interesting. How does that work? Then this has to be 6 and 8. Or this is this is 2, 4, or 6, right? Which can be between 1, 8, or 9. So either this is 5, 7, or it's 2, 4, 6 here. And this is 1, 3, 8, or 9, or 2, 4, and 6. Okay. Um, we have 15 and 7 here. We have 16 and 4 here. We have 22 and 4 here. Okay. So 2, 4, 6 is between 1 and another digit. So this can never be 1. If this were 1, the problem with that is that would guarantee 5 sevens here, and this would have to be 2, 4, 6, but obviously 2, 4, 6 doesn't work that way. So this cannot be 1. So 1's going to be either between these or between these. Same with 9, actually. Yeah, actually 9, 9 has to be between 6, 7, and 8, whichever one it is. But it could be with 1 or 2. 5 has to surround 3 and 4, so this cannot be 5 here. If this were 5, the problem with that is this would guarantee 3 digits that it's in between, and when it's supposed to be 2 digits. So 5 has to be one of these two, or it's here. We don't know which. Same thing with 3. 3 can only be here or one of these two here. Okay. Yeah. 15 and 7 means you have 22. So you have the same problem in column 2 as you do in row 1. Right? Maybe yes. Because if you have a 2 there, what digits cannot be inside 1 and 9 can never be inside a sum. So 1 and 9 are always going to be outside. So you're always losing 10. But the difference between 20... Oh, it's 22. Okay, that's not that bad. Okay, yeah, we have something in row 2. That's difference... The sum between them has to be 26, which means the outside ones must add up to 19 at most. We're guaranteed 1 and 9. That means a 4 has to be in between the high and low of one of them. Because 1 is never going to be in between as a sum in oh wait, could be. It could be 1 and 3. Oh. Okay, never mind. That makes things weird. Right. The only reason why Yeah, the only reason why column 1 and row 9 it's very restrictive is because you can only change colors once. So you'll always have the between one set of crusts and then you have the other set of crusts. You don't have anything in between multiple crusts. But in row 2 you could have that. So that's not as restrictive. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Um. Hmm. So we know what's in between the sandwiches for row 9 and column 1. But that's not that helpful. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. We still don't have very many restrictions in. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Let's say the 2 could also be. Could be a lot of things in between. Hmm. What else do we have? There's the 8 for column 8. But that's not that helpful either. Hmm. So 2 cannot be here. 2 is guaranteed to be one of these 3. 8's one of those 2, so 8 has to be one of these 3. Hmm. Um, the sandwiches in row 1 and column 9 aren't restrictive, so we don't really have very much information there either. 14 and 16 are just, yeah, that's just, it could be many things in between. Hmm. What else? What happens if we make this 5, 7? So if this is 5, 7, which means this is green. This has to be blue. So then this is 5, 7. 2, 4, 6 is between 1 and something else. So this can't be 1. This is 9. This is 3. This would be 1 or 8. 8 cannot be here, so 8 would be here. That would force this to be 1. And this to be 2, 4, 6. So then this could not contain 7. The 9 would have to be in between 1 or 2. This would then be green. And 1, 2, or 5 would be here. And this would be 3, 4 as a pair. So this would have to be 6. This would have to be 7. This would be 6, and this would be 8, if that's the case. That means this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Three, 4 as a pair. This can't be 2, obviously. So far, that seems fine. This is 1. So this would have to add up to 16 somewhere here. You can have 4 digits. You cannot have 5 digits, right? To add up to 16. 2, 3, 4, and 7 add up to 16. But 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 adds up to 20. You cannot have 2 digits. It's either 3 digits or 4 digits, adding up to 16. So this would be 9. Interesting. Mm hmm. So far, this is looking fine. None of these could be 9, so 9 has to be one of those 3. Hmm. Hmm. Remaining digits in box 1 would have to be 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hmm. That doesn't really tell us much. 1 can't be here. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Um. Hmm. Hmm. I don't know how much this really tells us. Let me pause. I'm thinking about one thing that I want to make sure that one thing that is sort of bothering me is it says digits of the other color are completely meaningless. Does that mean it doesn't add up to the sum? Because I don't think that works that way, but maybe it is. Hold on, let me pause. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, the completely meaningless is something. So it does. Okay. Completely meaningless means it does not contribute anything to the sum either. That. Okay. That's interesting. Because the digits in between have to add up to, of the same color, have to add up to the sums. It's not a problem for column 1 and 9, but obviously there's going to be some interesting aspects for like row 2. That is interesting. Okay. That would mean if we had this scenario, then the digits in so that means the other digits cannot count for adding in between, for being a sum in between. I was thinking that. I was thinking that the digits of the other color are completely meaningless for that clue, which means they cannot add up to the sum. Um, I will put that in the description then, because that's very important. If then you cannot have 1 as part of the sum in between the sandwich, it has to be 4 specifically that's in between. So therefore this cannot be 4. This is 3. That's 4. You could have a singleton green 4 somewhere in between. And then okay, so 1 you could have 2 and 9 potentially. So this can't be 2, 3, 4, or 8 in that situation. So it's 1, 5, 6, 7, or 9. So 1 and 9 are the crusts in row 2. Also, 2 is going to have to be. Because... Is 2 have to be? No, you could have 3. 3 could be the other one. So one of these two would be the low digit. There's only so many blues you can have. You can only have 3 blues at most. So you're guaranteed at least 2 greens here because of the yin-yang shading. Um, It could be a lot of greens though. Hmm. This cannot be 3 or 4. Um, hmm. Here we have 22. Um, hmm. How do you have 22 and 22 and 4 here? This would have to be an outside number, right? To be 5, 6, 7, 8. If it's an outside number, sorry, if it's a crust, you cannot have extraneous 5, 6, 7, 8s as outside numbers, can you? I guess you could technically. You could have 1, 2, 5, and 9 as your crust. That adds up to 17. But then okay. So to add up your inside sums are adding up to 26, which means the crust and extra numbers add up to 19. You're guaranteed 4 crusts. So 1 and 9 are guaranteed to be 2 of them. You could have 2, 3, 4 add up, but the problem is 4 has to be a sum in between. So that's not so you cannot. So you have to have everything has to be a crust or in part of the sum. And if you have 3 here, I guess you could have 1 and 9. The problem is all of these would have to be crusts, right, in this scenario. This does not work, though, because 1 and 9 obviously have to be crusts, and I think they have to be green. Well, it doesn't matter, actually. 1 and 9 have to be crusts in row 2, but they can't be because 2 and 3 are on the outside then, if that's the case, right? Because they're not in between. They're not going to be in between, so they can't be part of the sum. So they have to be part of the crust because, again, we can't have 2, 3, and 4 add up outside of the sums because we have to have a 4 as one of the sums. So this cannot work because either 2 or 3 is going to have to be an additional digit, which means that the crust cannot ever add up to 19. It's going to be greater than 19. So that means this cannot work. So this cannot be 5 and 7 here. What does that mean? That means this has to be 2, 4, and 6 here. So this has to be a 2, 4, 6 triplet, which means it's between 1 and 8 or 9. So 1 is guaranteed to be one of these. So this is green. This is not blue. Therefore, this is blue, blue. You have to have 3 and 8 or 9 here. So this is 3, 8, or 9. This cannot be 1, so this is 3 or 9. This is 1 or 9 here. This cannot be 2. So 2 still is one of these 3. Okay. You cannot have 3 and 4. Well, you could have 3 and 4 here if this is 2 and 6. Oh, that's interesting. So say you had 3 and 4 here. So you had 3 and 4 here. That forces this to be 6 and this to be 2. So that would be 4 here. This would be between 1 and 5. So then this would have to be 2 and 9. So this would be 2, that would be 9. And this would be 6, 7, or 8. This would have to be what? 5, 7, 9. And 8 for these two. Okay, so this would not be 1. It'd be 8 or 9. That's fine. That's interesting. So you could have 2, 6. You could have the green being 3 and 4. Does that work? I don't know. In column 2, you could have a 1 there. It's 22 for the sums in between, which gives us 23 outside. So you could have 2, 6, and 5 outside. That's possible. Or this could be 9. That seems viable. Or you could just have 3 and 4 in between the greens here, which is possible. And then this is 1 or whatever, 1 and 9. Hmm. One and 9 can never be part of sums. That's interesting. Obviously, any digits from 2 through 8 could potentially could. Um, 2 again cannot be an extra here. Actually, hold up. I think this has to be. We have the same problem here. Even if this is 1, 2, 4, 6. So say this was 6, 7, 8 here. Right? You have the same problem. This is 1, 2, or 9. One of these is 5, so this can't be 9. This has to be a 3, 4 pair. You have to have 4 in between here, so that's 3. This is 4. You have to have the 4 in between. You cannot have 2 or 3 be extra. But the problem is one of them is going to have to be. So, yeah, you cannot have 3 and 4 be here. This has to be a 6, 7, 8 triplet because of the same problem. So, we know this is 3 and 4, guaranteed. So this has to work that way. This is 3 or 4, this is 6, this is 2, that's 4. So this cannot be 2. This has to be 1 to be in between, to be less than 3, 4, but greater than 5. Because 9 cannot be here because we need the 9 to be surrounding the 6, 7, 8 triplet. So this is 1. This has to be 5. And this has to be 2. And this is 9. So then this becomes 6, 7, 8. This is part of the blue. So not green. This has to be 5, 7, 8, 9. And 8 cannot be either of these. So this is guaranteed. This can't be 1 then. This is 8 or 9. When we have 3, 8, or 9 here, this has to be a 5, 7 pair. That's interesting. Okay. So we had the same problem here if we had this be 3, 4. So this can never be 3, 4. That's essentially the issue there. This could be 2 and 9 in between. So I think that has to be 9. Yeah, because this can't be extra. This can't be extra. I'm thinking this has to be 1, right? Because we have 1 and 9, Garrett. Yeah, 1 and 9 cannot be either of these. So this has to be a 1-9 pair, right? And then these two. So this is a 1-9 pair. If this is 1, obviously that doesn't really work. So this would have to be 9, which would force this to be 1, right? But we're missing 8. Does that work? Yes, because the outside crust could work here as 8, 5, 9, and 1, 2. So that adds up to 25, and the insides would then add up to 20, which is valid. So then this has to be 5, that's 7. These outside crusts must add up to 19. So we have 10 here, this must be 2 and 7. So this cannot be 7 here, no 7 here. This cannot be 1, it cannot be 9, this has to be a 2 here. So this is 2. If we try to have a 1 here, that doesn't work. The 1 has to be in part of green. So this would not be green. One of these would have to be green. 2 and 5 has a 4 in between, and it's only a singleton 4. The rest have to be in between green. So that you could have a singleton 4 there, potentially. You could have a singleton 4 here. This cannot be singleton 4. So that cannot be blue. It has to be green here. Blue 4. Okay. So then 4 is in between one of these. The remaining ones, so 4 has to be the blue in between in row 2. Because the remaining digits, 3, 5, 6, 8, must add up to 22. And that can only be between 2 and 9. So 4 cannot be here either. So this is definitely green. And it's 3, 5, 6, and 8 here. This is so 3, 5, 6, 8. That adds up to 22. Column. We are missing the 8 here. So either this is going to be a 1 and all the rest are green in between, or this is a 4 and it could be blue. So this is guaranteed to be 1 or 4. We just don't know which. 1 is here. So this must add up to 16. It cannot have a 9 here. If this was 9, then the problem is that there's no way this is going to add up to at most 16. This is 9 here, so 1 cannot be here. Well, we already knew that. 1 is one of these 3 digits here, which means 1 has to be one of those 2 there. This cannot be 9, so it's 3, which means this can't be 3. That's 3 in the corner. We celebrate because we're getting closer to solving this. This can't be 9, obviously. So 16 has to be at least 3 digits. So 9 has to be one of these 3. Okay. This is 1 or 4. 1 is one of these two. This cannot be 1 here. If this is 1 here, this would guarantee this is 6, 8 as a pair, but that would eliminate all possibilities for that cell. So this can't be 1. Remaining digits in this row, or in this box specifically, have to be... no 1. It could be 3, 4, 5, 6, or 8, but 6 cannot be here because of 6 in the column. So this adds up to 14. So 1 is guaranteed to be one of these two. This is what? 3, 6, or 7. So 3, 7, 6 adds up to 16. And it's the green. And it must be between 1 and 9. Between 2 and 5 is the 4. But we don't know which one that is. So we have the rest of these are green, and there's one blue here. Probably have to work with column 2 now. Okay. So between the greens could be 2 and 6. So guaranteed. So we're guaranteed 1 and 9 are crusts in column 2. That's 10. In column... I'm going to pause. I need to go bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's continue. Okay, we're probably going to have to use row 2 somehow. 9 cannot be here. You can't have 5 digits adding up to 16 without 1 or 9. What about here? We don't have a 3 available. So if we don't have 3 available, what's the minimum that sandwich could be? 2, 4, 5, 6 for 4 digits, which is 17. So this cannot be 9. This has to be a 9 here then. So this is 9, and these 3 digits add up to 16. What does that leave? 2, 6, 8. 4, 5, 7. Interesting. 2, 6, 8, and 4, 5, 7 are the only ones 3 digits that add up to 16 without a 3 and 1 and 9. So this is 2, 6, 8. So if it's 2, this is 2, and this is 6, 8. Otherwise, it's 4, 5, 7. So this would be 5 or 7 there. That's interesting. But if this is 2, 6, 8, the problem is where are 4, 5, and 7 going to be? Well, both 5 and 7 cannot be here because 5 is 7 in the box. So they would both have to be that cell, so that's not possible. So this must be 4, 5, 7 here, which means this can't be 4. This has to be 6 or 8, and this is... Okay, 8 cannot be either of these digits, so this has to be 8 here. So this is 8, which makes this a 2, 6 pair here. That leaves in box 9 just 1, 4, and 9 remaining. So this is 2 and 6. This is 8, so this cannot have an 8 to add up to 14. You can't have 1 or 2 there. Can you have 4 digits in between? You cannot, because you can't have 2 anymore. So it has to be 3 digits here also. So this is 1. And 3 digits to add up to 14 without a 2 or an 8. You could be 3, 4, 7. So that would be 3, 4, and 7 there. Oh, this can't be 4 either now because of that 4. So this is also green. It's 3, 5, 6, or 8. 3, 4, 7. 3, 5, 6. You can't have it starting with 4. 4, so this is guaranteed to be 3. So if it's 3, 4, 7, this is 3, 4, and that's 7, which forces this to be 5, 6. If this is 3, 5, 6, this has to be 4, and this would have to be 7. Okay. We're guaranteed a 3 here, though. Interesting. So this is 4. So these are guaranteed to be non-part of the sum. We also know 1 and 9 are guaranteed to be not part of the sum. So, can we ever have 6 digits outside? I don't think so, right? They add up to 23 at most, and you have a 1 and a 9 guaranteed. So 1926 is guaranteed. That adds up to 18, I believe, outside of the sum. 1, 9, 6, and 2. That's 18, yes. So 45 minus 18 is 27. And we have a 5 extra. And it has, so this has to be a 5 then. Because if we don't have it outside the sum, the problem is yeah, you can't have 3 or 4 be here because there's no other digit that can be outside the sums that adds up to what's left over, right? So I think this has to be 5 then, if that's the case. Right? 2, 5, and 6 add up to 13 plus 10 is 23. 45 minus 23 is 22, which is the 15 and 7 add up to. So this has to be 5. This is 5, and this is a 3, 6 pair here then, which makes this 7 and this a 4. So this can't be 4 anymore, so it cannot be the blue. This is green also. 3, 5, 6, 8. This can't be 4, and this can't be 4. So we're guaranteed a 4 is here for column 9. 4 cannot be here, so this is green. 4 cannot be either of these cells because of the 4 in the box, so this is green, which forces this to be a 4 here, and is the blue to satisfy the sandwich there. Therefore, we need 1 and 3, 6, 7 between them, so this is 1, and this has to be 3, 6, and 7. This can't be 8 because of 8 in the box. So 4 is one of these two. We're not sure which. These are all green, so this must be blue in this 2x2 area. This green has to go out, so this is green. This cannot be green here. It's 1 or 9. This is guaranteed to be a crust if we're counting the greens. Interesting. 4 is one of these two. Okay. This is 3, 5, 6, or 7 for the remaining digits in box 3. So this cannot be 9. This could be 9, though. Oh, this 5 eliminates 5 in the rest of the column. This must be excluded from a sum because it's not in between the greens, obviously it's a blue, and therefore it must be a crust. Because if we have another extra here, that's 7, even if this is 9, there's not enough digits in between to add up to 22, which is what we need the sum to add up to. So this must be a 9. And since this is a 9, these can't be 9 here. This 9 eliminates 9 here, so this is a 1. That's interesting. So this is guaranteed to be 1 and 8 here, which means these digits, this sandwich cannot be between 1 and 8. As a green, it has to be blue. So this is the blue sum. This is whatever, green and blue. That's fun. Blue is the 4, and then green is the 22. Green is the 16, and blue is the 4. This is obviously blue. This is obviously blue. 7 is green here, and 21 is blue. Okay, this has to be blue in between the 9. We are guaranteed at least 1 blue here. It has to be blue in between. Where's 4 in row 8? Can't be here because of 4 in the box here, and these are filled out. This can't be 4. This can't be 4 because of 3-4 pair in the box, so this must be 4 here. So this is 4, this is 3. This is 1, this must be 9. We don't know what color that is. This 7 eliminates 7 from being here, so one of these two is a 7. Remaining digits in column 7 have to be 2, 8, and we have 3, 5, or 6. This can't be 2, obviously, because of the 2 in the row. 4 has to be one of these two. We are guaranteed a 1 somewhere. Remaining digits in box 1 are 1, 3, 4, 6, 8. This can't be 1. It could be 3, 4, 6, or 8. This can't be 6. 8 is going to have to be in between blue. So if this was 8 and was blue, that would not work. Because 8 would not be in between the 1 and the 9, which it requires it. Or the... can't be 5 and 9. It has to be... oh, wait. It could be. It's 7 and 8 in between. So this has to be blue. Yeah, it's 7 and 8. The 6 is outside. So this could be green in 3, 4. But this is definitely blue here. We know there's a 1 in one of these two cells here. Yeah, between the blue has to be 15 and the green has to be 7 because we have to have 3 and 4 in between. Or we could have... no, 7 cannot be in between green. Can 7 be between... no. You have to have 8 and some other digit in between the other ones, and that means it has to be 9. So then if you try to have a 7 in between 2 and 6, that doesn't work. So this is either 3 or 4, which means it's green, or it's 1. We're not sure which. This is definitely blue because 7 and 8 both have to be in between the 1 and the 9 in the blue set here. So this cannot be 1 or 9. 1 could be any of these three. I'm not sure. Okay, 4 has to be one of these two digits here. Hmm. Okay. This is blue. One of these is green at least. It could be 2 green. What is that? Um, hmm. 5 is one of those two. Remaining digits in row. Actually, let's do that. Yeah, remaining digits in row 8. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Interesting. Excuse me. Interesting. Cannot be 1 and 8 for green. You could have 2 digits, 6 and 7. What about 3 digits? If it's 3 digit, it has to be 2 included. I think it has to be 2, 5, and 6. Yeah. Because we don't have 1, 4 available. 2, 3. Okay, the problem... Okay, yeah. 2 has to be the smallest digit in... for the blues. Because we already have 1 accounted for. So 2 cannot be included in the sum. Therefore, it must be 6 and 7. So this cannot be 6. This is 2, which makes this a 6 here. So this cannot be 2. 6 and 7 are... So therefore, 6 and 7 are blue. And then 3 and 5 have to be green. Okay. One of these two is blue. It could be both are blue. One of these two is blue. It could be both are blue too. In this case, that would be 5. This would be 7, 8. That would be fine. Interesting. We know 1 of 2 is here. 1 of 8 is here. We don't know which one's which. This can't be 2. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. There's possibilities. This can't be 7 because of the 7 in the column. Remaining digits in column 2. We have 1, 3, 4, 7, 8. Yeah, 1, 3, 4, 7, 8. And obviously this can't be 1. These can't be 4. Oh. Well, no. We have 2 greens. We have 2 greens in column 2, and then 2 more blues. You could have blue and blue here, which would make green and green here. This can't be 5 because of a 5 in the row. Oh, interesting. So if this is 1, that means it has to be blue, which means green has to go here. So this could not be 4 if that's the case. But then that would force this to be 4 there. Hmm. Okay. So we have 7 and 6 here. Hmm. Um, we know 2 has to be one of these 3, and 9 has to be one of those 3. Does that help us any? Not particularly. Mm. 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 Obviously, this cannot be a singleton 9. That's the sum in between, because 9 and 1 can't be contribute part of the sum. You can't have 3, 4, or 6 here, so it cannot be 3 digits in between for the sum. It has to be 2. And it has to specifically be 2 and 7. Okay. Right, because you can't have 2, 3, 4 to add up in between. Obviously, 1 cannot be part of it. So it has to be 2 and 7 in between. And this can't, or it could be in between. Oh, no, this would be blue. And you would not be in between another digit here. So this has to be 8. So this is 8, which eliminates 8 in the rest of the column and box. So this cannot be 8 here. We are guaranteed a 7 in one of these 3 cells, so one of those is blue. And then 1 has to be one of them. So this can't be 7 either, because if this were 7, the problem is that it would not be in between 2 and 7. So it has to be in between the 1. Sorry, it would not be in between the 1 and the 8 or the 9, right? Or actually, no, it could be. Because 1 could be here, right? Or 1 could be here, and this could be green and green. Don't know about that. This one though could not be, because this could be 7, because it could be between the 8 and the 1, and that would be fine. Um, hmm. So we don't know what color that is. It's blue or green. If the 1 is here, then it has to be between the blue. It has to be blue. So the 1 would have to be blue. This would have to be 2 somewhere here, and this could be 7. If the 1 is here, though, 7 obviously can't be here. That would be 5. 5 could be either color here. But the 7 would have to be blue, so therefore that would make that green. And this would have to be green and green? I guess this still could be blue, right? So it could be blue, and then this would all be blue. 2, 7. One of these is green. If the 5 is here, that means it's green. I guess both of them could be green too. So, if this is blue, this is green. This is making my head hurt a little bit. Yeah, I don't know what color this is. Okay, so if this is green, this also has to be green. So if this is green, this also has to be green. The sum cannot be between 1 and 9. They would have to be between blues. That would force this to be blue. You would have to have 2 as the low. But that's not possible. So if this is green, that forces this to be green because of the way yin-yang works. You can't have you can't have diagonals be the same color, and then the opposite diagonals be the opposite color, because it just doesn't form a correct... you can't form a singleton orthogonally connected regions then. One of them would have to break up the other region, guaranteed. So therefore, this would be green, this would be blue. The problem is, then you could not have the green be the sandwiching, because 1 and 9 would have 0 in between. So it would have to be the blues, but then you would have to have 2 in between. The 2 be on the crust, but the 2 can only be here. It can't be here because of the 2 in the box. Can't be here because of 2 in the row. So that would fail. So therefore, this cannot be green. This has to be blue. That's interesting. So since this is blue, you could still have 2 greens here, and then that's 2 and 6, right? Heck, you could even have an 8 here as a blue, and then 2 in between. Hard to say. Can you have green? I guess you could have 8 as a green, right? That could work. So this is 9, this is 1, this is blue. So, the problem is 2 and 7 have to be in between, and 8 and 9 are already taken as crust of blue. That means 2 and 7 must be blue, and they must be in between a 1. So one of these is blue, and then you have 2, 7. So you can't have... Could you have all blue here? This has to be green to get out. So that has to be green to get out. These, again, are cross diagonals of the same color, so this must be green here. That leaves both of these as blue. And this must be 7 and 6. So this is 7 and 6. These are 3 blues in the 2x2 area, so this is green. This is 5 then, and these must be 3 blues. So 1 is either here or here. And then we have 2 and 7. So this is 1, 2, 7. This can't be 3, this can't be 6 or 7. This becomes a 3, 5 pair. So this is satisfied. 1 cannot be here, obviously. This can't be 7. So if this is 1, this is a 2, 7 pair. Okay. This is 5 and 7. Okay, so the blue goes out. The green has to go out. So this is green. We have green done here. Blue's fine there. This green has to connect out, so this must be green. It cannot be 7. It's 3 or 4 there. Therefore, one of these is 7. One of these is guaranteed to be 7. So since one of these is guaranteed to be 7, the other one, it's blue, which means the other one cannot be blue because then we would have 4 blues in this 2x2 area. So this must be green as the other one. Therefore, this must be a blue here. So this is blue, which forces in this 2x2 area this to be green. So this is blue. Therefore, this is 4. This is 1 because it has to. These digits have to be in between the smallest and largest numbers. So this is 7, this is 3, that's 4. So this cannot be 4 here. This is blue, which means the green has to go out here, which means this cannot be 4. So where is the 4 in row 2? It has to be here. And this is 4, so this can't be 4. Where is the 4 in box 1? It has to be here. We don't know what color it is. Green has to go out this way, so that's green. These is blue cross blue, so this cannot be blue. This cannot be green here because that would cross that way. So this is blue. Remaining digits in box 4, we have 1 and 9. 1 and 9 cannot be here because of this, so this must be 1 and 9 here. Therefore, this is 6 or 8. So that's satisfied. This is satisfied. This 6 eliminates 6 here, so it's 3, which makes this 6. This makes 6 eliminates 6 here, so it's 8 and 6. It also eliminates 6 here, so it's 8. This can't be 6 or 8, it's 3, so none of these can be 3. This can't be 8 anymore, so 8 has to be one of these two. Okay. 6 is eliminated here because of the 6 in the column. This can't be 3 or 6. This can't be 3. 7 eliminates 7 here, so it's 5 and 7. That eliminates 7 here. So one of these two is 7. This can't be 7 because of the 7 in the row. Whereas the 7 in column 8, it has to be here. So that's 7. Remaining digits in row 6. We have 2, 3, 6, and 7. 7 cannot be here, obviously, because of 7 in the column. This can't be 3 or 6. Remaining digits in row 3. We have 2, no 3, 5, 6, and 9. Okay. This can't be 6 because of 6 in the column. This can't be 5 here. Okay. So this is guaranteed to be 2 or 8. Um... Hmm. Okay. So can green ever be... Can green ever be the sandwich sum? This would have to be 6, and we'd have to have 3 and 5 in between as green. But we can't have 5 here. And if this is 5, you can't have... I guess you could still... No, you can't have 8 as green here, and then these be green, because that would be too many greens in this 2x2 area. So I think it has to be blue. Which means it cannot be... Yeah, if we try to have green, you could only have 2 greens like this. But it would have to be 2 and 6, but that this green can never be larger than 6. So it would not be able to surround that sum correctly. So we cannot have green be the sum. Therefore, the sum must be blue. And you have to have a low here. And I don't think... Well, actually... You could have a singleton blue. But if you have a singleton blue... So it can't be 2, 6, because that's 2... 2 cannot be the... 2 is the lowest digit in blue. If it's blue. So it cannot be 2, 6. You can't have 3, 5 for the same problem that you have. You need a 2 to be surrounding the 3, 5. And then the problem... It's the same problem with the green, right? The green asset. And 5 cannot be here. So it has to be a singleton 8 as the blue. Which means this cannot be... Either it's between 2 and 9 here, with this being 8. So that could be blue, blue. Or this is 3, and the other digits are green, and this is 8, right? This can't be the sole blue here. If this is blue, that forces this to be... Well, okay. If we try to have more than one green here, the problem is it has to be here and here, and then this would be blue. So that would have to be the 8. You cannot have 8 here and B2 here as blue, because then you have nothing in between the lowest and highest digit. So I think 8 always has to be here. If we try to have 8 here as the blue, there's no more blues possible to be in between, because it already adds up to 8. So this would be green, green, and we have a 2x2 area that's all green. So if we try to make that 8 as the blue, it doesn't work. So this has to be 8, and this is blue. So that makes this 2. This could be green. It could be blue. We're not sure which. This is 2. Sorry, this can't be 2. This could be green here, or it could be blue, or this could be 3, and then this would be green and green. That is possible. This can't be blue. If this is blue, that means we have 2 in between, adding up to greater than 8. So this must be green here. That doesn't tell us much, though. This could be blue or green. We're not sure which. Hmm. Green has, well, it could go through this way, so it doesn't have to go this way. Could be blocked. Okay. We have 8 here. It cannot be blue. Because even if it goes to 1 to 9, you can't have 4 and some other digits add up to 8 without a 1. It would have to be 4, 2, 2, or 4 and 4, and that's not allowed. So it cannot be blue. This has to be green. Um, oh, wait, that's not true. Okay, it cannot be green because it's so hard to how would that work? You can't have a singleton 8 in between. You have to have 2 digits. So this would have to be outside, but then the problem is that would have to be 2 and 6 between 4 and 3, which is not working. So this does have to be blue. I'm sorry. So this 4 is not part of the blue. So this has to be green. And we need to be between 1 and 9. And we need 2 digits in between. So this has to be 9. And therefore this has to be 2 blues in between here. And it must be 2 and 6 to add up to 8. So this is 2 and 6. That means this can't be 6. This is 3 and 5, which forces this to be 6 here. 3 eliminates 3 here, so it's 6 and 3. 5. If this were green, the smallest digit, blue digit in column 8, 7 is a 4. So this has to be blue, which means this can't be blue. This is green for this 2x2 area. This green must go out, so that's green. None of these can be 3. Okay, so this is done, right? Between 1 and 9, we have 2 and 6. So let's just check. Row 1, between 9 and 1, we have 3, 5, 6, which adds up to 14. This can't be 6 because of 6 in the row. For green, in row 2, we have 2, and 2 is the smallest, and 9 is the largest. 3, 5, 6, 8 adds up to 22. 3 and 8 add up to 11. 5 and 6 add up to 11. Between 1 and 7, we have a 4 for blue. For blue, in row 3, we have 1 and 9 and 2, 6 in between, which adds up to 8. For blue in row 7, it's either between 1 and 9, we all have 2 and 7, or between 1 and 8. Oh, it has to be between 1 and 9. So this is 1. It has to be between 1 and 9 because 9 is greater than 8. So this is 1, which makes this 2, which makes that 7. 2 eliminates 2 here, so it's 6. This can't be 6 or 7, so it's 2, which makes that 7. So between 1 and 9, the smallest and the largest is 2 and 7 for row 7. Between 2 as the smallest blue and 9 as the largest blue, there's 6 and 7 there, which adds up to 13. Between 1, this 9 eliminates 9 here, so this is 8, and that's 9. Between 1 and 9 is 2, 4, 6, which adds up to 12. Between the smallest 3 and largest 8 is 5 and 7, which adds up to 12. Between 2 and 9 in column 1, we have 6, 7, 8, adding up to 21. Between 1 and 5, which is the largest green, we have 3 and 4, adding up to 7. In column 2, we have 2 and 6 for the green as the crust, and 3, 4 adds up to 7. Between 1 and 9, we have 7 and 8, adding up to 15. For blue, we have 2 and 9. 2 is the smallest, 9 is the largest. We have 8, which adds up to 8, obviously. Between 1 and 9, green, we have 3, 6, and 7, which adds up to 16. Between 2 and 5, 5 is being the largest, 2 being the smallest blue, we have 4, which adds up to 4. Between 1 and 9, we have 4, 5, and 7, which adds up to 16. So now we just need to finish these and finish the coloring. Remaining digits in column 4. We have 5, 8, and 9. In column 5, we have 3, 5, and 8. In column 6, we have 3, 5, and 1. Okay, this can't be 3. This can't be 3. Interesting. This is green. Blue is already connected. Okay. What happens? Okay, this can't be 5. And this can't be 5. This 8 eliminates 8 here. So this must be 9. Which makes this 1, which makes this 9. This can't be 1, that's 3. This 9 eliminates 9 here, so it's a 5, 8 pair. Therefore, this 3 eliminates 3 here, so it's 5 and 3. 5 eliminates 5 here, so it's 1. This cannot be 9. Interesting. Okay. So here, we have 1 is as small as blue. 4 is as small as green. But we need digits adding up to 12. And 1 and 3 doesn't, as the largest number, doesn't work. It would have to be 1 and 8 with 5 or 7 in between. Same with the 4, right? Because it cannot be 1 and 9. Being the same. And that adding up, because then 7 is only in between. So it cannot be 12, adding up to 12. So either 1 and 8 cannot work, because that's green. And if we had that be 8, this again does not add up to 12 in between. So it must be green. So it has to be green for column 4, and it must be between 4 and 8. So that makes this 5, this 8, and that 5. And these are both green. So these would both be green to add up to 12. This cannot be green, because then there would be between 4 and 9, and that would be 7. So this must be blue. Okay. This is 8, this is 5. We need... So could this ever add up with green? Either 2 is going to be the smallest, which has 3 in between, so that adds up to 3, or 3 is the smallest, and that has 0 in between, so it cannot be green. This has to be blue. So that means it's between 1 and... If it's 8 here as a blue, that would be only 6 adding up. So it cannot be blue. It has to be between 1 and 7. And these must be blue. It's 2, 4. And 8 cannot be blue. This is green. That's green. How does this connect? So that's 2, 4, 6. So we have... In column 4, between 4, which is the smallest, and 8, which is the largest, we have 5 and 7, adding up to 12. In column 5, between 1 is the smallest and 7 is the largest, we have 2, 4, and 6, adding up to 12. What colors are these? Green cannot connect here, so it must connect here. So this must be green and green. And that's done. So then this is 5. And that's the solution. Well done. Hope you had fun, and don't forget to keep fletching. Yeah, this was pretty cool. Once I realized that the rule set was that you had to ignore, even for sums, digits of the opposite color. It allowed things to flow much easier. I was wondering, it seemed like it was not restrictive enough, which it wasn't, obviously, if you just had sums, right? So there's that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve today, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.